Hello and welcome to the Singapore Fintech Festival. This is the Nairobi Online City event. We're so glad to be here. Even though it's an extraordinary time, we are back with this edition. This time it's virtual. I'm Yvonne Okwara.
And I am Debarl Inea.
And we will be taking you through the next 3 days of this Nairobi Online City event. And we're so proud and honored to be part of the 40 global cities across all continents, being part of the Singapore Fintech Festival, where you will get to hear from leaders in finance, in technology, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and officials of multilateral agencies, even as we take a look at the economy and what it looks like now during the COVID-19 pandemic and moving forward. And the theme for the Nairobi Online City event is People and Talent, harnessing collaboration in pursuit of resilience and growth post-COVID-19. And that pandemic has had ripple effects across different sectors of Kenya's economy, particularly the MSME sector that has been disproportionately affected by that. And so what we are going to be doing here over the next 3 days is just taking a look at what is in store for them as they start or restart their businesses, even as the economy continues to gradually reopen through this pandemic. So over the next 3 days, what will we be looking at? Well, we'll be taking a look at some of the economic recovery efforts during this pandemic. And then we'll also be taking a look at the role of fintech and their resilience. And you will get to see some of the finalists from the Virtual Africa Hackathon that took place in August 2020. And finally, we'll be looking forward towards sustainable finance. And we'll be taking a look at the effects that the pandemic has had on financial inclusion and how we start to build back better. So we're excited about the next 3 days of this event. Debarl?
Yes, indeed. And of course, you know, the world over, the financial reporting model is changing. It's no longer about just the profits, but it's about the planet, it's about the people. And that's why this particular peak of the theme that we are running under people and talent is providential for this particular Fintech Festival. All we know is people sometimes they are forgotten when we are trying to get that cash and of course expand our bottom line. But you know, it's all about integrated reporting. It's about the people. And of course we know we are living in this COVID-19 pandemic, quite a very torrid times that we have with us here. And we know when we navel gaze on the people, that is what is all that matters. And of course, I want just also to remind you that this event is part of the ongoing partnership between CBK, that is Central Bank of Kenya, and the Monetary Authority of Singapore, aimed at facilitating the exchange of ideas and collaborations between the fintech ecosystem and stakeholders in Africa, Asia, and globally. So we have a lot up our collective sleeves, Yvonne, and of course we're going to be enjoying this conversations, rich stream of information that is going to be coming from our panelist today. But before we drill deeper, we want also just to give you an introduction of a video which will act as a segue for our summit today.
Yeah, and even as we await that video, and like you said, people is at the center of it. And people at the center of economic recovery as we look forward to what happens post-COVID. Of course, times are uncertain, but we continue to, start to think about what it'll look like over the next year, over the next 2 to 3 to 5 years. And we're just talking about the effects on the MSME sector, yes, reduced revenues, trying to deal with what is a health crisis that is having great economic effects. Obviously, Africa not as affected as other parts of the world, but, economics for many people where there are no social safety nets is something that would be important to take a look at. And so we're looking forward to that.
Right, so they did also, I was just doing my research here, and the International Monetary Fund published its regional economic outlook for Sub-Saharan Africa, which seeks to answer questions. What does the post-pandemic road to economic recovery look like? And they're saying in general, the report notes that not only were the most developed economies of Sub-Saharan Africa hit hardest by the effects of the pandemic, but that the pandemics also weakened the ability of these economies to stabilize prices and exchange rates. Also, the data reveals that, I should say, widespread currency depreciation and reduction in reserves in the countries also they were analyzed. Difficulties in controlling prices and currency value have complicated also the debt picture. And this is where we know we'll feel the impact of COVID-19 even next year.
Yeah.
So it will be quite a long road to recovery. We are looking at, the country or most countries in the world maybe going to recovery in 2025.
And MSMEs in this part of the world providing nearly half of the jobs in this country, many of them also mostly informal, and so feeling the effects of the pandemic a lot harder and starting to build up their resilience and shore up their capital revenue, shore up their reserves as well, I think is something that will be important as we look forward. And this is what we have for you.